Okay, so what if I told you we could see a story that hasn't been spoken aloud for over 6,000 years? I mean, this is a story so ancient it was lost long before writing was even a thing. Well, an absolutely incredible project is using cutting-edge AI to do exactly that. It's resurrecting the creation myth of our most distant ancestors, literally turning ancient sounds into something we can see with our own eyes.
And that really brings us to the central question, right? What did that first creation story even look like? For thousands and thousands of years, this foundational story, the one that explained where everything came from, was just gone. No books, no paintings, nothing. All we had were these tiny, faint echoes left behind in language. So seriously, where would you even start looking for something like that?
Well, the amazing thing is, the story wasn't really gone. It was just hidden. It survived in tiny little pieces, buried deep inside the words you and I use every single day. So the quest to find it, it's not about archaeology, digging in the dirt. It's more like a detective story, where all the clues are tucked away in language itself.
And to crack this case, researchers had to basically become language detectives. Forget shovels and brushes. Their toolkit was stuff like grammar, etymology, and comparative linguistics. They were hunting for clues, yeah, but not in the ground. They were looking inside the very architecture of ancient speech.
So every detective story needs a crime scene, right? Well, here's ours. A language called Proto-Indo-European, or PI for short. Now, this is the big one. It's like the great-great-great-grandmother of hundreds of modern languages, everything from English and Spanish to Hindi and Russian. It's the ancient source, the origin point for all of our clues, spoken thousands of years ago somewhere on the Eurasian steppe. Okay, so how exactly do you investigate a language that nobody has spoken for millennia? Well, you use a really cool technique called linguistic archaeology. It works like this. By comparing words that mean the same thing across all its daughter languages, think about English 2, Spanish dos, and Russian dva, linguists can actually work backward. They can reverse engineer and figure out what the original PIE word must have sounded like. It's like they're literally digging up the lost vocabulary of our ancestors, one word at a time. And believe it or not, all this detective work actually paid off, big time. After piecing together ancient root words related to creation and sacrifice, they found them, the two main characters of this whole story. They're known to us as Manu, who represents the priest, and Yimo, the twin. And you gotta understand, these aren't just names from a storybook. They're like ancient concepts, these word fossils that are right at the heart of this lost myth. Okay, so now we've got the characters and we've got the ancient words, but that's still a long way from actually seeing the story, isn't it? This is where the whole project takes a massive leap, from the deep past straight into the bleeding edge future. This is where ancient language meets modern artificial intelligence. And this really gets to the heart of the problem they faced. How on earth do you turn something so totally abstract, I'm talking reconstructed sounds, ancient ideas, these root words for twin or priest, into an image, something you can actually look at? How do you give a body to a story that's been nothing but sound and memory for thousands of years? The answer, it turns out, is something called neural synthesis. The best way to think of it is this incredible AI that has basically spent its whole life learning the connections between billions of words and images. So you feed it this abstract data, the ancient sounds and the meanings of these PI words, and it becomes this creative partner. It translates all that data into totally new, often really visceral imagery. It's the magic wand, the technological bridge that finally connects the idea to the image. And the process itself is just as cool as the final result. So, step 1. The linguists do their thing and reconstruct the ancient PIE phonemes. We're talking the actual literal sounds of this lost language. Step 2, they take these ancient root words and concepts and feed them right into the neural network. And then finally, the AI just gets to work synthesizing a visual interpretation, basically creating a world straight out of ancient data. All right, and now we get to it, the big reveal, the climax of this whole investigation. After all that linguistic detective work, after all the advanced AI synthesis, what did our ancestors' first creation story really look like? What's the primordial event that this incredible technology has finally let us witness? This quote from the researchers who did the work, wow, it just sets the stage perfectly. The world's birth from dismembered divinity. It's dramatic, it's super visceral, and it tells you right away that this creation story, well, it's not going to be a gentle one. This is about a world born not from nothing, but from the violent tearing apart of a god.
And this is what the AI showed them, the central, shocking act of the myth. The priest, Manu, sacrifices his own twin brother, Yemo. And from Yemo's body, the entire world is created. His flesh becomes the earth, his bones become the mountains, his blood forms the rivers, and his skull becomes the sky. It's this incredibly violent but also creative act, the one event that kicks off the entire cosmos. And hey, if that story sounds a little familiar, it should. It's the exact same pattern you see in Norse myths with the giant Ymir, or in the Babylonian story of Tiamat. This isn't just a single one-off story. It's like we found the original blueprint.
So you can see this is so much more than just a cool tech demo, right? Being able to visualize this myth, it's a genuinely profound achievement. It's like opening a brand new window into the past, letting us connect with the minds, with the worldview of our most distant ancestors in a way that just was never possible before now. Really, what makes this such a landmark achievement comes down to a few key things. First, it just brilliantly bridges this super ancient linguistic research with totally futuristic tech. Second, it takes something that was just abstract data and turns it into a real, tangible, visceral experience. And maybe the most important part? It reveals this shared blueprint, the foundational architecture that so many later creation myths were built on.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway, I think. For the very first time, we aren't just reading some dry academic paper about a lost belief system. We're actually getting a glimpse. Yeah, an artistic and technological one, but still, a glimpse of what it might have felt like. We're actually moving from just reading about history to experiencing it. And you have to imagine, a technique like this is just the beginning. I mean, if we can use AI to see a myth that's been lost for 6,000 years, just think about what else is out there, waiting for us in the echoes of other lost languages. What other forgotten stories? What ancient rituals? What entire lost worlds can we finally bring back into the light?